Well, had to order the king cake. Ordered through the mail, and then
Gambino's.
New Orleans since 1949. But we had to get it through the
oh yeah, one of my favorite websites.
what is it?
I love it. Gold Belly.
We had to get it from Gold Belly because we're not home.
Yeah.
But I think I put it together pretty good. King cake. Whoever gets baby Jesus, there's a little plastic baby Jesus in here somewhere. Whoever gets baby Jesus has to bring the king cake to the party next year. That's the rule. Hey guys.
Hi.
Yeah, so it's winter.
It's snowing a lot in Evansville, Indiana.
So we've been in the Midwest through winter. It's been okay. You knew before we were in New Hampshire during summer. Well, they got the hottest summer they had in like recent memory when we were there.
And the highest temps were 98 degrees.
Yeah, in New Hampshire. Anyway, we came here, southern Indiana, and you know, it's supposed to be not, you know, somewhat mild. You know, it's not up by the Great Lakes anyway, right? But it turned out to be the coldest winter they've had in a decade.
Right.
So anyway, last week we had an ice storm. I was freaking out. Yeah, you can hear it in my voice because ice storms are no joke. Be careful going down these steps. Ooh. Hand me that hand. Hand me that hand scraper. Whoa. Monty just busted his ass.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see the rock I've put down, but you can't keep up with it. I've never seen anything like this, ever. This, okay, I've been places that snows and it's below freezing and all that, but this is like above freezing, below freezing, above freezing, below freezing, and worse, it's below freezing and it's been raining all day. The ditches are full of water. So what does that do? Ice. A whole coating of ice. Look at this. So they call this an ice storm. Oh, great. Okay. So we're in southern Indiana, Midwest. So it has no sign of stopping. It's still raining. I'm skating. I put rock down. I mean, a good amount of rock down, and I'm freaking skating. Now we both had our cars out, but can you see this? This isn't wet, that is ice. So even the screen is getting wet because it's raining so much. So I know someone on here, look at it all. Someone on here is gonna go, oh, so what? I lived through worse and whatever. Okay, yeah, well, good for you, but it just keeps collecting. Look at that. So when they say just, you know, that smart ass comment, oh, how do you winter camp? Oh, you head south. There's more to it than just heading south. There's more to it than just the cold. Okay, it's like, oh, you know, sometimes you can't help but to be in the cold. Here we are, you know, Bethany's on assignment and we can't leave for another couple of weeks. And then this ice storm hit. So sometimes you can't avoid it, but if you can, get out, because it's more than just cold. it's especially where we are, it's cold and wet, which creates mud and salt, and all this just goes into the RV. You understand what I'm saying? It's just nasty, and then you get clogged up, and it's wet and cold out here. Your bay gets backed up because, you know, you can't really pull stuff out and organize it, right? You just keep running out here and shoving it in, you know, whatever needs to happen. But yeah, it's a slush fest, so it's not, oh, pretty winter wonderland, you know. Yes, I would prefer just snow. You know, if it just snowed, that's fine. And even that gets dirty because as they scrape the roads and the road grit gets on the side of the road, and over time it just ends up black and nasty or whatever. But this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It just keeps raining, and it's below, it's 28 degrees, maybe less now, and it's going to get way lower. And it's just rain. You see the rain droplets? So you saw me there. Yeah, you could hear the slight panic in my voice. But I mean, if it does not stop raining like that and turning into ice, it gets worse and worse. We're talking power lines down, roofs can cave in if they're not very secure. We're not worried about our roof, but you know, this kind of stuff can happen. Roads are really bad, and just, yeah, no, that's no joke. Mm-hmm. So I take snow over that any day, which is what we got. Yeah, it snowed. Yeah, it snowed about a foot, but I'll still take this over that ice storm any day. Luckily, you know, you saw me in that last video, I was freaking out because I knew if it didn't stop, it was going to get really bad. Luckily, it did stop raining, but it stayed frozen. It's still frozen. It got down to 3 last night. It's like 9 degrees right now, but the sun's out, so that's good. I got out and wiped down the cars so we can go somewhere today. It's been really cold. I hope the golf cart batteries are still doing okay. I need to plug that thing up soon. Still, this is when it's bad to be on the wrong side of the sun. But this would be a good spot in summer. Frozen. It's a frozen tundra. Ain't that bad. But this storm's hitting a lot of the United States. So again, I'll take the snow any day. But this single digit, But winter camping, what do you think about it, Beth?
It sucks.
So winter camping, I would suggest, if you saw in my earlier video, we put PVC, and PVC really helps. PVC doesn't freeze much, so you don't end up with so much of a, you know, poopsicle as such. But no matter what you do, no matter what you have run outside, you want to keep it off the ground, because it, you know, things freeze more in the ground. You want to definitely have a heated hose. Now, we've made a hose ourselves, and we put a heat strip,
like a foam over it.
Right, we put a heat strip and then had one of those pipe insulators we put over it, and then you had to tape it. But it's still not as sealed as Camco makes one, and it's just sealed all the way. And it
the
has
blue hose you see on outside of most people's rigs.
Yeah, they're $100 and something, but they're worth it. You know, it plugs in, has the heat strip, but it's all built in. And yes, you can wrap a hose and tape and all that, but it's not as sealed as they have from the factory. And they put 2 little sleeves that end up at the spout connection, and that's where it freezes the most, right there at the spout. And when that pulls it just secures that strip of heat right there on the spout. So that really helps. So we haven't had our water line freeze once. We had spigot.
The spigot froze because someone just took the heat element and they just kind of threw it in there beside the spigot, but they didn't wrap it around the spigot.
Your park should secure the spigot, come around and, you know, but if they haven't, you're going to need to wrap it and put some heat. And it's wherever the hose connects is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
But if you buy one of those Camcos,
we ended up having to take our gauge off.
That does not wrap your spigot, though. Yeah, it has to be wrapped.
Because we think it froze in the gauge that was down regulating the water. I guess, is it measured in PSI or centimeters of water pressure or something? It down regulates it, and I think it froze in there too. So we ended up having to take that off and wrapping a heating element around the spigot.
But we can sit here and talk shop. You know, our RV has fared really well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the 20s and upper teens, that's fine. But when it got to single digit, we had a little bit of a problem. Like I said, the only problem we had before that was the spigot froze where it connected, not to the rig, but to the water. After that, it dropped down to what, 5 degrees? And that ice storm and all that. And
1 degree. Somewhere.
Yeah. And our gray tank valve.
It froze, and we went to get a ceramic heater that Shane has kind of pointed at in the bay. I don't know if you really want to talk about that because it's really boogie what we did, but he'll probably take a picture of it and show it to you now.
No, we have a light. So usually in your water bay, okay, you would, that's where your valves are and your different, where you connect the water to and change over from city to what, you know, dry camping and that kind of thing. But we have a built-in light. So you put that on, that's usually enough to heat it and keep it from freezing.
Not in single digits though.
But man, you start getting in single digits.
But to be fair, you said that there may have been an issue with the gray tank water valve prior to all this because it seemed to stick a little bit.
But our back black tank,
it's completely frozen.
Come here, hey, not that way. Look at here. Yeah, he's a boy. He's a boy. He's a baby. He's a baby. He's a boy. So, you know, we've got two bathrooms, two black tanks, one in the back. Well, the bathroom in the back has a different black tank valve, and it's frozen. So I can't empty the back black tank. But I can't really heat it. Let me show you why. This is where it is. See it? But you see that? Yeah, you see that? No. Don't think that's a good idea to put any kind of heater in there. But I do have a heater in this one because the gray tank was frozen. Not the gray tank, the gray tank valve was frozen. We're okay, you know, up to in the 20s and teens, but it got down to single digits and then yeah, not so much. Well, the funny thing is the black here did not freeze at all. I'm thinking the black tank's just a little warmer naturally. What do you think? But I've got this heater. It's a little big for in here. See, I've got this light. That keeps it warm. But still, the gray froze. So I got this little heater, and it has a safety switch right there. And if it gets too hot, too, it's on a safety. But let's see how it's doing now. It's still not pulling all the way open. Nope, that sucker's stuck. I don't know what it is with that gray. I've even been running this little heater in here, so it's not here, it's wherever it is back there. winter camping. It's frozen.
It's nothing but a poopsicle back there.
Nope, because it had to be released to make a poopsicle. Poopsicle is when it's stuck in the hose and frozen. We don't have frozen hose.
Yeah. We may want to add the Arctic package, but I don't really plan on ever going out of season again. Because, I don't know,
Why? We're in an RV, you know? But it just worked out that way for us, unfortunately. But the things I would suggest, your water line, that's number one. Keep everything off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of things that we want, let me tell you, go along with what it's like to camp, I guess, to RV in the winter. Propane. Propane sucks. You got to get out, change it. It can run out in the middle of the night, and it seems to always run out the most inopportune time.
We're going about 20 gallons a night, or 20 pounds, however propane is measured, but
40-pound tank, so we're going through half of it.
We're going through 20 a night right now.
Yeah. Why are we going through so much propane? Well, we cook with propane. We have a on-demand water heater.
It's amazing.
You
totally worth the money.
Love that. But that uses propane, and the other is the furnace. Now, we have heat pumps. But heat pumps don't work well under 40 degrees. So you have to run the furnace. And why do you have to run the furnace? Because the furnace runs in the underbelly, at least in ours.
And DRVs it.
In most, anybody that has that has a sealed underbelly, that has whatever their brand calls of winter, four season, or whatever.
And keeps the hoses, you're saying?
Yeah, the whole water, all your services. So the furnace runs, and it runs under the belly and keeps everything from freezing. So even so much one night, we didn't know that. It dropped below freezing in New Hampshire. We only had the heat pumps on. And boom, that furnace kicked on for the first time. And we were in the middle of the night. I woke up. I thought something was burning.
I could smell it.
But, you're kind of asleep. And I'm like, that's a familiar smell. But is it burnt plastic? You're just asleep. So I'm just like, huh? What? What was that? Like it smells when you first start a furnace. I guess it's burning the dust off the coils or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so ours had a dummy protection. Like, you're an idiot, so I'm gonna turn this on for you. And but anyway, you gotta run that so things don't freeze. Matter of fact, it seems the lower the temperature is outside, the higher you need to set the thermostat in here, so that furnace runs like as much as possible, so it can really kind of keep everything warm down there. Like running external, like the fireplace and stuff like that, will keep the furnace from running less. I'm saying when it gets real cold, you want that puppy to run a lot and keep that stuff down there from freezing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if it's not really too bad, yeah, you want to use your other stuff and not run it as much so it doesn't use as much propane. So propane runs out. We added a 100-gallon tank. Now, I have bought this extra 100-gallon, 100-pound tank, and I was going anyway, so I filled my friend's 40. One thing I want you to know about, these are usually 30 pounds empty and 70 pounds full. Okay? This is normally 70 pounds empty and 170 pounds full. So how did I do this? Well, when you're here and you're running, it's 28 degrees. When you're running the furnace, which you have to keep that underbelly warm, you use a lot of propane. So I have the 240 gallons, but they can go quick. So what I did was bought an extension. This is an extension cord, and you need this adapter right here on the end. Can you see that? Yeah, you see this? This is a different connection. Different connection than the 40-pound, see? So I want to be able to quickly, when that 100-pound runs out, I can just swap back over to my 40-pound here, and I got another one back there, and run it while I fill. Even if I have to wait a day, it's fine. But this will not fit. This will not fit directly into there. You have to have this piece, because this is the piece that fits in there. So this is an adapter. Other side fits like so. The other side was like this too. So from here, so all I've done, because this is the line that goes into my rig. Some people go underneath and do it and do all that, and I don't know. Probably safer, I don't know, whatever. I don't think it's that big a deal. I use this extension, and see, I'm still connected to my whole line, and I just do this extension over to the 100-pound. As far as propane levels go, you know, even you have gauges, sometimes all of them, I haven't seen one yet that works very accurate, except they're pretty good about telling you it's out. But besides that, it doesn't really show you the level. Well, a little trick I want to share with you is you pour warm water over the tank when it's cold, and it forms a layer like this. Can you see it? It forms an ice layer. So this one is to right here. I wanted a bigger one. I wanted to get one put out, but you know, if you get one too big, you can't get it in the truck to go get it delivered.
I know, I can't believe you can lift that thing.
Well, it's a 100-pound tank, and it's 170 pounds full. But even that runs out. We've got, even with that. So boom, so I've got 2 40s and then that 100. Right? So you're always, oh, this one's running out, swap it over to the other 40 and use 100 or whatever. But there is an alternative. And I've heard about it, and as soon as I heard about it, I wanted it, but we just haven't been to a service center, you know, a place. Here, they don't have, it's weird.
You would think in Indiana, being the place that it is, that they would have RV centers everywhere.
A couple hours north from here is Elkhart, where they build everything, right? RVs and more rides there, and just everybody, Gen Y, whoever, you know. But here, no RV service. I mean, there's a dealership somewhere, whatever, but there's no mobile service. There's no, and it's not a top. Now I did find out there's a Lazy Days in Nashville, which is only a couple hours away. But anyway, to get to the point, because it's such a pain and you can run out of propane, there's something called cheap heat. And cheap heat attaches to your furnace, and it allows your furnace to run off of electricity.
Wow. That would have been nice.
Now what I don't know yet is, I hope it has an automatic switch over, because we're about to go out of town and we're a little worried, because it's gonna be lower temperatures.
Yeah.
Like it's Wednesday, and Friday it'll be like 5 degrees.
It's Shane's birthday, so I got him a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, and we would have already left, but we're in this, I mean, the whole nation's getting this. Texas is getting it real bad. Gracie, you know, she's in College Station, Texas A&M, and they're having it real bad. A lot of people are without power, but
Yeah.
she's kept her power. They did have a water leak in their kitchen though.
A lot of pipes have busted. A lot of power is down in Texas.
But cheap heat, that's a must. We're getting that. I don't care if it's summer. As soon as I get someone I trust, I'm gonna have them install that.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing we want. Our tanks did not freeze, but our valves did, right? I want some tank heaters.
That would be cool.
Now, had we expected it to be so cold, you can wrap your... Now, our tanks are sealed. They're up underneath, but there's still a spout coming out, you know. We would wrap those in with a heat strip, and you plug that in and whatever. But they make tank heaters, and then I just go in the closet here and turn them on. Oh, it's a little cold tonight. Let's turn on the... you know.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely we're going to get those tank heaters too. And we hear tell there is floor heaters.
Oh.
Now, I don't know how you get under there and install it, especially when you're as sealed as we are. Now, when you run the furnace, because it's running underneath, it kind of helps with the floor, except for the toy box. But the toy box isn't too bad because it is sealed. But so we're going to Gatlinburg. I can't wait for that.
Yay. Well, see. Hopefully we can go. I mean, you're feeling pretty confident about it, right?
We're
Yeah.
going, and I'm saving the 100-pound tank, and we'll just turn it on. See, if that's the thing. If you run out of propane, and it gets below freezing, the furnace can't run to keep your services from freezing, and so they're gonna freeze.
Yeah.
It's not like this thing's been winterized, and you got a bunch of
That would be awful.
antifreeze running through everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you're living in it full time and all of a sudden you have to leave for a few days. You really need to think about how you're going to keep it warm and what you're going to do.
So
I almost felt captive, like I wanted to go but I couldn't.
it's been so cold, we didn't leave too early, that's for sure. Partly because of the drive and all that, but anyway, I've got the 100-pound tank full, and right when we leave, I'm swapping over to it.
Yeah.
But if it was just a regular 40, you wouldn't make it. You couldn't go out of town, couldn't go away from your rig for too long.
Right, that's true.
So that's where we are. We're going to try not to do this anymore, but I'm going to get prepared for it. As soon as we get somewhere, Lazy Days or somewhere that can really, service our unit, we're going to get this stuff, and I want to be more prepared. But this rig is done well. Don't get me wrong. But if you can't drain your tanks, like I can't use this back bathroom now because...
Well, it's pretty gross.
So the other thing is just don't discount how much it's just dirty. It gets brought in. It's just like when you're in a campground. It kind of whatever's outside comes in with the dogs, with your shoes, with your whatever. It's not like you got a mud room.
No.
I mean, you should see us coming in with the snow on our shoes and the salt on it, and then yeah, not fun.